I'll hear Damien O'Connor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I can see the bill is that big that it's falling apart in my hands here, and I hope it doesn't once it's passed. Mr. Speaker, this is actually at the heart of the SOP brought to the committee by the Minister. And the issue here, sparked by the botulism debacle, was that MPI and the Minister and the National Government got caught with their pants down to some extent because they didn't know whether they had the ability to recall the infant formula or be subject to a legal challenge by Nutritica or Danone, as it is now, of course. So the uncertainty around the recall provisions by the Minister gave rise to the SOP that is effectively addressed in this part of the bill here now. The Select Committee looked very, very carefully at this, and the consideration rested on one word. And it's a word that's spoken of but not often implemented in Parliament, that is reasonable. And there is judicial, I think, precedent around the word reasonable. And the committee asked whether there was a requirement for officials to be reasonably convinced, I guess in summary, that there was good cause for recall. And you could take either side of the debate. Some could say, well, of course the officials are always reasonable and we have to provide them with the powers to recall because the risks are great. And that is indeed what many of us would think. However, I personally was able to bring to the table an example of where officials were not reasonable. They had demanded the recall of a product, a wine-based product, and almost put a small, innovative wine producer out of business. And it was quite ironic, really, because the government has just handed out money through PGP to the wine industry for innovation, and yet a few months prior to that had stamped down and clamped down on an innovative wine producer. I'm not going to use the name of the wine, but I will say that resveratrol was the component. It is a byproduct of the winemaking process, the filtration process, and it was added back into the wine that it could be said added a slight health component to the wine to be consumed. The point being that officials, because it was a small producer, demanded the recall take place. And that was a huge cost and impost on that person. So, of course, they didn't exert the same authority when it came to, or weren't sure whether they had the authority to do it to someone like Nutritica or to Fonterra. So the Minister, quite rightfully, I guess, wanted the matter clarified. And the SOP brought the matter to the committee considered it, and I think we've arrived at what is a reasonable position, is that we trust the officials to only initiate a recall when necessary. And I think, on balance, we should support the officials. If we've got the right government and the right minister in place, I have every confidence. We have some concerns at the moment, but no personal reference to the minister. It's just that her regime leaves a bit to be desired. Under a Labor-led government, I would have every confidence that officials would make the right decision when a recall had to be made. So we have, as a committee, as a cross-party committee, decided on, I think, a measure of a threshold that is fair, protects New Zealand's reputation and position. And that member must have been asleep at the Select Committee. That's the silence of the lambs over there, or the sheep, I should say. If they were allowed to speak out, they would be able to explain and endorse the proposition I'm putting forward. But anyway, the silence is deafening. Can I just say that this is a key part of the bill? The Minister put forward a proposition to clarify the recall provisions. We have, I think, tested it thoroughly and robustly, and I think the position that we've arrived at is one that does allow officials, and under a Labor government will be Food Safety Authority officials, not MPI, and all its multitude of obligations, and it will allow Food Safety Authority. Mr. Chairman.
Shane Ardern.
I move that the question be now put.
The question is the question be now put. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct the party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 in favour.
Mana.
1 opposed.
ACT New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
Wait.
Order. Ayes are 63, noes are 56. The question will be put, and the question is that Part 4 stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. We move to debate on Part 5, which is clauses 314 to 406 plus Schedules 5 to 7. So the question is that Part 5 stand part.
Mr. Chair.
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr. Chair, look,